Hello folks, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe 2 in Love, here to your AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming review for December 11, 2024 edition. I'd say it was a sound episode of AEW Dynamite, leading into World's End, which is at the end of the month, but very solid, I thought it was. Did what it need to progress certain storylines ahead of World's End. You know, Chris Cage or Hook, we were wondering about that. News about the main event, which seemed kind of academic based on last week for World's End, but Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, Jay White, and Hangman Page. That's a solid four-way main event for World's End for the AEW World Championship. And we know, of course, Chris Cage is in the weeds, you know, with that guaranteed title opportunity. So we shall see how he makes his presence felt during the main event. But should be interesting. So first, let's talk about Collision, because the Colorado Classic, and we did have more matches on the show tonight, which were fun. Claudio versus Ospreay, Ricochet versus Brody King. So on Saturday's Collision, so we had Kyle Fletcher. Well, that's the funny thing. We had the two champions, per se, in this tournament. So we had Kyle Fletcher beat Kazuchika Okada. So he now has 9 points. The reigning Continental champion. So, you know, it's like, again, this feels like this is his tournament to lose. And I couldn't be happier. He won with a brain buster. You know, it's like crazy. But he keeps winning. He keeps winning, so credit to him. You know, yeah, he beat Moros. He beats Sean Benjamin, and now he's beating Okada. So credit to him. Speaking of the guy that had a draw with Okada last week on Collision, Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia, he lost to Mark Briscoe on Saturday. I can tell that's going to rile up people and make sense, because at the end of the day, Garcia is the TNT champion. And it's like, I will say some criticism is the build to this feud with Garcia and Jack Perry. I like the build towards it. But again, you know, the aftermath of being champion. It's like he's probably in this Continental Classic because they're trying to build a feud. That's my take. His next feud, so we'll see. But yeah, he lost to Mark Briscoe. And then we had Darby beat Commander in a odd fashion. We saw Darby, you know, Darby always has a reckless, you know, spot of sorts, but you know, where he landed his back on a chair, you know, went for a suicide, but yeah. Nonetheless, Darby was able to pick up the win over Commander, and he prevails in this tournament. So we shall see. But yeah, he has 3 points. So next week we got Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe, and Kyle Fletcher, he beats Mark Briscoe. He's pretty much guaranteed a spot in the semifinals. And the thing about World's End is they'll have the semifinals and the finals on the show. So interesting. So I dig it. And then on Rampage we got on Friday we got Okada versus Mortos. So I expect another win for Okada, currently at 4 points. So yeah, we shall see. But yeah, Dynamite I thought was swell. Very good. Did its job. So not for that, and not much talk. Let's just go over now. So first thing. So first we had the Death Riders versus Jay White and Orange Cassidy, with Christian Cage up in the press box somewhere. Fun thing. Voicing his opinions and whatnot. So the finish of the match, the start of the match and the finish I liked, because showing the intensity. It's like all them brawling before the start, because Jay White and OC both want this title. And then at the end of the match, Hangman Page attacking Moxley, showing again he wants the title as well. And then the exchange of finishes with Orange Fudge, Blade Runner, and etc. That was solid. But the melon match, it was a long, big match. Credit to him. It's like Pac, Moxley, OC, and Jay White. Didn't need to be that length. I'm not sure, but that's just nitpicking. But there's a solid opening segment to the show, so that I enjoyed. And then it was made later in the show, Jon Moxley, Hangman Page, Jay White, Orange Cassidy, 4-way for the World Championship at World's End. Bandito, he had a unique, I would say, little vignette. It was like, because he has that mask and his gap, and he had that outlaw kind of hat. So I like the whole Western-ish vignette video. I like. We haven't seen Bandito in quite a bit, so I appreciate this little video. Now, where we go from here with Bandito, I'm not sure, but it was a little vignette, which was cool. And then the Death Riders, so backstage, Moxley voicing his opinion. He was paced, he was irate, talked about how he willing to fight all 3 of them at World's End. So that was me. Christian Cage. Talked about Christian Cage in the press box. Well, you knew he was going to say or do something on the show. So he voiced what he doesn't like about all 3. He said most talked about Jay White cost him the World Championship at Full Gear. Talked about how Hangman Page didn't show up with his end of the deal. Talked about how OC just gets on his nerves, and but said Moxley frustrates him the most because he has what he wants, and that's the AEW World Championship. And said that he'll break him down, he will, to the point where Mox says, that's why he says, you deserve it, you deserve that drink. He'll send him back to rehab. So, Christian Cage decided, well, again, he's your reigning defending future world champion, and then he was walked up the steps, and then he's about to turn around, about to say something, which I believe was going to be, oh, by the way, Kansas City, go. I bet she was going to say, go fuck yourselves. But right before he said go, Hook appeared right outside the door for the room, the press box. And he smashed the window open. He attacked Christian. Walked in the red room. The little girl was happy, which is hilarious. But Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne tried to get involved. It's like, yeah, I was just like, not scary or anything. They're not right there. The patriarchy, it was a little hilarious, but so I liked it. Hook. Now we're still keeping this going. Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. This was fun. This is a good match. So I like Will Ospreay's Samir, kind of like a little darker, prosperity to his Samir, but still high flying, so energetic. Yeah, more assassin like, which you can appreciate. But so fun match, including Claudio. So it's like there was making the rounds of social media. This shows kind of the tribalism, or some, unfortunately, and I get it, some don't follow, old school or tap to wrestling, because we're not all as old as some people are. Some are older, some are younger. And, some were talking about the Soruka dive, Fall Series flop to the outside on, I believe it was NXT Deadline or one of those events over the weekend. But anyway, so they were talking about, I saw the online where people said, well, Ospreay coming to her or something, and it's like, it was just hilarious, because we've seen Ospreay do that before, and we've seen Sasuke do it before, so it's like, it's whatever. Careful on Twitter, folks. There's toxic people in the especially in the wrestling realm. IWC, but any event. This saw match. There was also another spot here where it looked like Claudio was going to do his big swing on the outside. And there was a fan that said, "No, he has a son. No, no, no." It was hilarious. Larry just threw him into the steel steps, which hell of a spot by Claudio. So back in the ring, Claudio mainly hit some big moves. He hit an uppercut for 2. He hit a lariat for 2. He went for the Ricochet bomb, but Ospreay fought out, rolled up Claudio for a jackknife cover to win and get 3 points in this tournament. Hell of a win by Ospreay. Obviously, Claudio was not too glad about the outcome, so he went a cheap shot lariat to the back of the head, followed with a neutralizer by Claudio. He grabbed the chair, but Darby was quick to intervene and check off Claudio, and Claudio was just shrugged him off and was like, "Okay, whatever, I don't need this." So, and Darby and Ospreay just gave a little nod to each other and show of respect, because next week at the Holiday Bash we're gonna have Darby Allin versus Will Ospreay in the Continental Classic. So yeah, Ospreay, Ricochet, and Claudio all have 6 points. Darby could join them next week, or Ospreay could be the first to 9. We shall see. But it should be interesting next week. Darby and Ospreay, two of the very fan favorites, certainly in AEW. We'll see. Ricochet, he had a bit of a segment backstage with Renee, and he was sounding so on Rampage when he beats Commander over the weekend. Crowd was not too kind to Ricochet, and Ricochet kind of played a heel in that match. Subtly, but still. So he was kind of sounding different in this segment here. And he showed off the MVP card that MVP gave him for his services. So he said that he holds all the cards. So Ricochet, he said he holds all the cards, and he gave this little laugh, and Renee was not too pleased with what he meant. So, and then we saw in the match against Brody King, Ricochet didn't have the best reception. So it's like, since Cedric Alexander isn't there, to pair with the Hurt Syndicate, could we get Ricochet subtly joining the Hurt Syndicate with Lashley, with MVP, with Shelton Benjamin? That would be intriguing. It would feel like a more better character arc. So, because we know Ricochet's not the best on the mic, and we know. Well, it's funny, we've seen it more and more that Ricochet is not doing as many high-flying moves. So he's kind of easing up, preparing his moveset in a way. So that's probably another thing that why fans are not too happy. MJF, we're shown here ride to the arena in a limousine, showed the ring, self-explanatory, and then we saw him put on the scarf. We didn't see his face, but yeah, you could tell. So, next. So, is it a Rampage? Yeah, it was Rampage, not Ring of Honor. So, Chris Jericho and Brian Keith. So, first of all, I want to say congrats to Big Bill, aka William Morrissey, and Lexi there. So, it was touted that they were engaged, for months. And it was revealed the other day that they tied the knot and got married. So, big congrats to Big Bill and Lexi there. So, credit to them. Lexi there, she mainly does Ring of Honor and the other shows, Rampage and Collision. So it's like, haven't seen her, don't really see her much. And Big Bill is one of those. If the Chris Jericho pairing is helping anyone, it's helping Big Bill much more than Brian Keith, simply because with his teaching per se, or what he says, it's kind of hilarious. But in any event, congrats to Big Bill and Lexi there. It's good to see how much he's turned his life around from where it was years ago. It's like he got in shape, he had an addiction, but he's dealt with that, and now he's TDP's son-in-law, so credit to him. But so Matt Cardona, this is the next thing. So on Rampage, Matt Cardona, yes, Matt Cardona, he was out there and he confronted Chris Jericho, saying that in Hammerstein Ballroom for Ring of Honor Final Battle, Matt Cardona will challenge Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship. That would be very intriguing. Very interesting. Matt Cardona is the Ring of Honor World Champion to help, propel him. We know how good he's gotten on the indies the last few years. So it'd be good to see him, it'd be fun to see him. He said he belongs in AEW, said he's back, and his shirt said he's always ready. So he proclaimed a challenge to Brian Keith. for Rampage. You know, Matt Cardona on AEW TV would certainly be a great addition for him. Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. Winner faces MJF. At World's End. These two are the final of the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. So Adam Cole made his entrance, and I kind of think they went backwards with the entrances, honestly. Because, like, the conglomeration doesn't have a good thing. Kyle O'Reilly's good, but he's... So anyway, Adam Cole made his entrance, and, you know, people were happy to see him. And then we cut to the back, and Matt Taven and Mike Bennett are trying to talk, reason with O'Reilly. O'Reilly's not having any of it. So O'Reilly makes his entrance, and it's like, yeah, conglomeration, that theme is... Mikey Ruckus is very good, one of the best, but that theme just has a sour taste because of the group. Mainly Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and love Mark Briscoe. Kyle O'Reilly's a good wrestler, but on his own, not swell. So this was a solid match, but crowd investment was not there. Main event, so MJF showed up and people were waking up. He tried to interfere as the ref was attending O'Reilly, and he ate a super kick from Adam Cole, which took him out of the picture. O'Reilly went for a ankle lock, but Adam Cole countered into a small package roll pin for the 1, 2, 3, and you could see MJF was not happy. So there you go. Now it's made. MJF, Adam Cole at World's End for Dynamite Diamond Ring. 1 year to the day after Cole and the Devil turned on MJF after MJF lost the world title to Samoa Joe. Thus we got World's End later this month. We got MJF and Adam Cole. Chris FTR, a team we wish we saw more of, but so last I really recall much of Dax Harwood. He was on I saw a video of him with Adam Copeland, who, by the way, if there's one guy, well, him and Lance Archer, two guys that definitely wish were on Wembley. But yeah, Adam Copeland, especially with his theme, would have been great to see on Wembley. But so Adam Cole, but so anyway, they're talking about the hurricanes and whatnot, and they tell that Fight for the Fallen, those donations and those funds would go to the those survivors or those affected by the hurricanes. So that was good to see. So FTR, from Asheville, North Carolina, it was great to see. So yeah, talking about a segment there. Chris Jericho, he had a thing about with Brian Keith talking about Matt Cardona. Talk about the challenge from Matt Cardona to Brian Keith. Talked about Hammerstein Ballroom. So yeah, did their job there. Tony Schiavone had a sit down with Darby Allin, and Darby looked like he messed himself up even, or maybe what didn't really do it, but yeah. Any event, so Darby had a sit down with Tony Schiavone. He talked about how haven't heard about him since Full Gear, really, when he tried to mess up the Death Riders and asked, when is it going to be enough? And Darby talked about taking a stand, against Death Riders and what they mean, and said it will never be enough. Said that pain and whatnot, when he punches himself, he doesn't mind that. He doesn't mind that pain. Funny thing is, so they had a press rally for the Gulf Field next year for All In Texas. Darby was there, Sting was there. That was a cool thing, as Sting Todd predicted Darby will climb Mount Everest, and then next year he will be world champion sometime next year. High praise from the singer. High praise. Ricochet versus Brody King. Solid match. Interesting finish. So Ricochet's been using this finish more and more, this like a sliding lariat, but what happened was, so Brody King was going for the finish, and what I mean by kind of heelish tactics, so the turnbuckle was exposed, and it looked like Brody was going for maybe a superflex or something, but trying to take him back in the ring after he went for that choke. But Ricochet kind of did a DT to him off the exposed turnbuckle, and then clipped one of his legs while he was on the turnbuckle. It managed for him to collapse again on the exposed turnbuckle, so it allowed Ricochet to pick the bones and deliver not one but two sliding lariats for the win. Thus Ricochet beat Brody King. It was a hard fought match. So again, Ricochet now with 6 points. We'll see. But a heel Ricochet in the Hurt Syndicate, I can enjoy that. Be something new for Ricochet, who's been, complaining and whatnot. We've seen online that it's not been what he expected. So yeah, a character change would certainly work. Anna Jay, Mercedes Moné, they've been kind of building nonchalant, but kind of talk about this. So apparently next week we'll get Anna Jay versus Mercedes Moné. Could be a good match. We just saw Anna Jay go to a trilogy with Mariah May, and she lost. How that she would never be able to fight for the women's championship again as long as Mariah May is champion. You know, it's like Anna Jay, she's been in a unique spot the last few years. You know, she has a great look, I know that. But she's been in this spot where it's like, she could be better, but she's not in tier 1 in the AEW Women's Division. She's kind of like maybe tier 2-ish, or even 3, where it's like they're waiting for her breakout or something, but something's just, she just kind of feels like a gatekeeper for the women's division right now. But again, could be a fun match. We saw a good Mercedes match she had with Chris Statlander, but credit to Chris Statlander, so we'll see. And then the main event, Mariah May versus Mina Shirakawa. This we know was kind of simmering for a bit, but the big thing was happened at the end. So Thunder Rosa was in the crowd, so I wonder, it's like it brung up her name subtly, but not for the women's championship, perhaps her TBS title, because we have not seen her wrestle on Dynamite in a long time. Former AEW Women's Champion. So I wonder, are they maybe teasing a potential feud? Maybe. Well, what happened was, so Mariah May won. She was victorious. At the end of the show, Toni Storm returned. So last we saw Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm, was prancing around, and she left after her loss at Wembley to Mariah May. And then she did an interview promoting AEW Grand Slam for Australia. But other than that, we had not really seen her since. So it's like Toni Storm returned, but it was not timeless Toni Storm, it was old Toni Storm. So pretty unique, I'd say. And she looked very emotional. It was heavily good to see her back, definitely. So yeah, we shall see how it goes. But nonetheless, that is my AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming review, which I thought was solid. So, or show rather, but if you guys like this, be sure to give a like and a thumbs up. Subscribe if you guys haven't. Greatly appreciate it. Notification bell as well. Click on that. But anyways, guys, see you guys next time. Appreciate y'all. And yes, I made Chon Love. See you guys next time. Take care and peace.